Welcome back to another video on my journey to A Group. As you know, the series is called Road to A Group, and this time we're going over Atlanta Motorsports Park. I just recently came back from there on July 20th of 2025, so this will be really fun. Got the face out, you feel me? So now you can see what I look like, and got the Louis hams rocked. But jumping right into it, let's go ahead and look at the track map. So really what we were focusing on for this track day was not necessarily lap times, but I got a race box, so I was really excited to use that. So we were really just focusing on coming back here with the new skill of being better with body position and seeing how that felt on a track like Atlanta Motorsports Park. So after a couple sessions, after the second session, I learned more of where I wanted to work on, and turn one is always going to be somewhere to work on at AMP, because at least in the beginning, once it's sketchy, it feels really sketchy, so you gotta get your cojones out, you feel me? So turn one, turn 6, because I also had an incident, or almost had an incident the last time I was AMP at turn 6. Hit a nice little false neutral as I was pointing right at the wall, so I had to check my pants after that session, but it was worth it. It was fun, learned a lot. But really, for this track day, really what it was 12, 13, 14, and 15. This last sector here, coming back onto the front straight, we're going to go over some race box information too, so you can see exactly the difference between my fastest lap and my slowest lap, or one of my slowest laps, because there's a lot of slow laps, to be honest. But we'll be able to see the difference between the two, and I'll be able to show you, and that's what's really exciting about the race box, having this data, having this telemetry, and being able to overlay it as well. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you a little tease of the race box stuff, because I'm really excited to show you this. I think it's really cool. Being able to go through all this stuff and then also compare different laps and everything blew my mind. So I'm like my own engineer right now. So this is going to be really cool. I'm excited to show everybody, but stay tuned because that's going to be at the end of the video. All right, here we go again. You can tell it's a different day. I'm rocking a different shirt. Got the Toby Lou merch on. Big Toby Lou guy. Took the pony out. And yeah, as you can tell, I'm still at work a little bit. It's my work computer in the background, so I'm on lunch. So don't get mad at me. But just wanted to interject here and go over a clip of a little bit of a moment that I had in the turn 4, and then also to discuss how I was negotiating to make a pass and also catch up to make the same pass, and wanted to go over that footage here. So gonna go ahead and get it popping. So yeah, here we go, going into turn 1. Cool enough, the bike in front of me right now is actually the coach that I had follow me last time I was at AMP, and she was on a Ninja 400 then, and I couldn't remember what she was on today or on Sunday, but she was cooking regardless, so it was crazy. But here we go, going into turn 4. You'll see me watch this front tire. Ooh, on the curb. So I was getting a little too impatient, and that was a lesson in patience there, to be patient and lock in. And here we go, going into turn 6. Watch her. She gets on throttle, not the coach, but the bike right in front of me. Gets on throttle and just better drive out the corner. That was something I struggled with that day as well, was trying to figure out where I can grab more throttle properly and safely to get a better drive out of turn 6, because I feel like there's a little bit of time that was left there because of that. And that gap there, as you see, I closed back in. That gap closed, but it also opened up, so there's some time left there. At the top of the hill, seen a lot of people crash here. It's an off-camber corner, and then into the back section. Here's where I finally get the pass done. And what's cool about it is I think it was because I have these SE3 Supercorsa V4, so my first ever SE3 tire compound, so a lot softer and a lot more grip, and I think there's a lot of confidence there. But yeah, that was the clip I want to go over and show y'all. So we'll get into the lap times now, and then eventually we'll get into the race box data, which will be exciting. So, all right, getting into the slowest lap first. All right, so going into turn 1, here we go. Keep in mind of the lean angles in comparison to the next clip as well. The lean angles and also the speed. The time, obviously, but the lean angle and the speed can show some key differences of what was going on. Going into turn 6, got a little bit of a better drive out of here. Push the bike a little bit further to that outside rumble strip, and try to carry a lot more speed through here into this left-hander. On this lap, I actually took some advice from the coach and tried to pre-shift. So before going into this long left-hander, trying to carry in to 4th gear, so I wouldn't have to shift mid-corner. But as you'll be able to tell in the next clip, I was a lot slower, because this lap ended up being a 147. So as you notice, the butt cam is gone. I forgot to click record, y'all. Kind of crazy. Of course, I didn't get to record my fastest lap fully. So yeah, here we go. Coming out of turn 1 and coming up to turn 4. So again, peep the lean angle on the exit of turn 4. Y'all like that knee scrape. Lean angle right about here, boom. Flash of 47 to 48. So really was pushing to rotate that bike there. Here we go again, better drive. Again, pushing further out to that outside rumble strip. Being able to carry a little bit more speed. And as you can see, there's already a 2-second delta on that 46.4 or 46.04, so I was still pretty ahead of the last clip, but still a lot of time in turn 6. And then also you'll see where I really gained a lot of time here in this back section. Being able to just roll on that throttle and stay consistent is really what changed it back here. But as you can see, coming off of it, the time dropped. So that was a working area. Alrighty, so now we're going to be going over the comparison lap. So we're going to have our 143.5 over here on the left, and then our 147.2 on the right. And right off the bat, let's just look at the maxes and mins of what the race box picked up. So first off, again, max lean angle, leaning at 46.7 on the fastest lap versus 44.9 on the slowest lap. Unfortunately, we can't look at the comparison side by side down here on the graph. Down here, we can't look at this. All we can look at is the speed, which is a little frustrating, but it's okay. I think that 46 was actually here in turn 4. Pretty sure it was there. It was either there or the back sector, but pretty sure it was 4 because a lot more tighter, a lot more rotation needed to be had to get the bike rotated out of there. But yeah, so lean angles, max acceleration, that's interesting because I don't know where. I haven't looked at that quite yet. And max braking, a little bit more on the brakes on the fastest lap, obviously, because a little bit later in some regards. But then the speed. Look at the max and min speed. Those are the big indicators here. So on the max speed, the fastest lap a 1:01:42 versus 130 or 100.36. And then the min speed was 28.54 on the fastest versus 26.01 on the slowest. So almost a 2 mile per hour difference, or almost 3, because it's about 2.5 mile per hour difference on the minimum speed on the fastest lap. So that says something because, again, maintaining a higher pace overall versus the max and the min speeds. So, yeah, but let's get into it. First, we're going to go ahead and get into turn 4. And, again, if you look down here where you follow my mouse, you can see how I'm going along the graph, and then it also corresponds with the dots on the track. Again, race box, pretty damn sick. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my girl. So, yeah, starting off, though, pretty consistent going into turn 1, as you can see. Pretty consistent. Start to pull a little bit more because I'm carrying more speed through here, as you can see down here with the 73 versus the 64. Carrying a lot more speed and then also peaking at more speed. So at about 83.44 on the fastest lap and 76 on the slower lap. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So now you can really see the difference as to where I started pulling on the faster lap going into turn 4. So corner entry was almost the same, but going into the mid corner, you can start to see where I'm pulling off speed wise. As you can see, the blue line's getting a little bit further from the red. So carrying a lot more speed through here. Look at this, 43 versus 50. And then all the way to the peak to about where the exit was about for both laps. Around almost about 8 miles per hour faster on corner exit coming out of turn 6. So, again, these are the little things that make a big difference when it comes to racing and also just lap times in general. And going down into turn 6, because remember, this is where I was interested in the clip that I showed you guys earlier of if my drive was any better on my fastest or slowest lap coming out of turn 6, because it felt as if I needed to do work there. But interesting enough, corner entry and everything was about the same, but I did get on the power a little more smoothly on the fastest lap. As you can see down here on the graph, you can see where it crosses over at. You can see that's where I kind of start rolling on throttle on the blue. So then I'm getting more speed. Versus here, I kind of hit it. See, that line's a little bit more straighter coming out of turn 6. So just popping the throttle rather than like a nice controlled roll. And as you notice in the clip, I think I mentioned it, getting on throttle pulled me more to the outside rumble strip, and again allowed me to carry more speed using the width of the track, So yeah, and then the middle of the second sector seemed pretty consistent. As you can see, the peaks and the troughs are almost identical. Like if you can move them over, they would kind of line up a little bit more. So that the middle sector was a different beast, almost, or not the same beast, I guess. But here we go. Going into sector 3, though, this is where a change really was. So here's a crossover point at the start of sector 3. So starting the sector 3 at 39 miles per hour on the fastest, and just about the same on the slowest at 39, as you can see down here. But watch the pull. Watch the blue dot pull further from the red dot through here. I was carrying a lot more speed in this last sector in comparison to my slowest lap, which is a big indicator of the difference of the lap times. When you look at the video, you'll really see that the setup for turn 4 really opened up the time going into turn 6, and that's when I really started pulling on myself here. As you can see, kind of kind of same, not too far, not too crazy, but then it's like, okay, hold up, carrying a lot more speed out of here. And then, like I said, once you get to the third sector, boom, the difference widens and widens and widens. So yeah, that last sector was really cool to see this on the race box and being able to look at that and see that it felt different, only slightly though. You know, it didn't feel drastically different, but it felt a little different, and for that to be so much time is kind of crazy, kind of wild. So yeah, but this is really, like I said in the last clip, this is where I wanted to work on the exit out of the back of the sector 3, going onto the straight and carrying so much more speed, because again, I peaked at 101 before I started braking on the front straight on the fastest lap, and then I peaked at 100 before I started braking on the slowest lap. So again, these little things make a big difference sometimes when it comes to motorsport, and that's why I love it, and that's why I fell in love with Formula One and soon MotoGP, because I just gotta lock in with that. But they chase tense, man. They chase the smallest of times at that high level, so it makes a big difference, and it's really cool to be able to get a little baby taste of that with the race boxing, my very expensive hobby. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me and going over some telemetry, a little bit of data and whatnot, and some comparison stuff. And remember, this is the road to A group, the road to advanced group, the road to the top, the road to being a fast guy, whatever, you know. But this is a documentation of that journey, and I'm glad that you are also interested to check it out. So thanks for coming. I'll see you next month, maybe next month, if not August, in September. Definitely going to Tally again in September, so that'll be a fun video, because I feel fast there. Might not be fast, but I feel fast, and that's all that matters. So thanks for coming, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Walking around in Kimbo, can't breathe. Think I told her push me through the window. I need someone, can you